Yeah, so we're here today to talk about some SEO, paid search, and as already said, a case study on our client in the Distance Learning Centre. Hopefully we can impart some knowledge in the... Is it half an hour we've got Audrey today, I believe? Any questions and answers? Okay, brilliant. So, am I clicking here? There we go. Yes, as I say, SEO, paid search, and then we're going to go through the case study today. I'm late substitute here. It should have been Dave O'Keefe, our digital account director. But does everyone know about SEO here? I wasn't quite sure what level to pitch this at. We've got some beginners, some advanced kind of users of SEO. Does everyone understand what SEO is? Okay. No? Got a mixture then. Okay. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. And it's how Google kind of ranks your website and how you show in the search engine result placements within Google in the crux of that. So we'll take you through as I suppose basic understanding today then. Okay, so I mean going back kind of time with Audrey actually, I went with Audrey back in OCS, the 5 years at OCS with. SEO is going to evolve massively over time from black hat techniques to white hat techniques, and ultimately Google will always find the black hat techniques out really and penalise those people. So going back maybe 12 years ago, it was everyone was just creating as many links as you could do, and back in those days you could pay someone in India $1,000, probably not $100 to get you 1,000 links, and that worked at the time. And then people went on to kind of spamming key phrases on the websites, putting it in as kind of white text on a white background so you couldn't see the key phrase, and all these kind of techniques, and it all worked for a while. And ultimately Google find you out, and then they released kind of Penguin, which was the links, and Panda, the content update. And then a lot of clients have got penalised. So what Google really want you to do is a website should be ranked naturally, so it should be relevant content on our website, which people like to read, engage, it's useful for those, and then that's linked to from other people who find that relevant. And that's Google what they want to achieve really, and the term content is king. And that's still relevant today. I didn't realize it, Right. So, and that's what we try to do at Fact Media. We try, we're only white hat. I mean, there are actually some, would you believe in this day and age, some black hat companies that still do that, and some results, but it's never a good tactic. No. So what we try and do at Fact Media is, starting at the very basics, is key phrases. The key phrases alert. So what are people searching to find your website? And there's various free tools out there, which we put some links on here, which I think you can all get access to this presentation at the end, to actually find these key phrases. And so basically you end up with a list of 30, 40 key phrases, some kind of what we call short-tailed key phrases, so a lot of search volume, but very competitive to kind of achieve, because all those people are kind of trying to get those key phrases, and long tail as well. So you're waiting for a mixture of short tail and long tail key phrases to combine those together. The longer tail are easier to kind of achieve rankings on your website because there's less competition. It's easier to get content on your website to achieve those. As I say, we'll come on to the placements of these, but basically once you've done your key phrase analysis, it's then a mixture of how you get it on your website in terms of the technical SEO, which Adam's going to cover. I'll just cover the next slide, which is the Google SERP. So SERP stands for Search Engine Result Placement. And what we have here is just, you're probably all familiar with this. First point here is Google My Business. I mean, brand, to cover your brand, everyone searches for, a brand, and Google My Business is a really simple way to, as you can see on this screenshot here, get to that #1 spot just on maps, basically. So if someone's searching for Access Planet, Lancaster, with that business listing set up, that's going to be the first thing that users will see and get through to your website that way. And then we just put on this slide here, so the important things within the search engine result placement, the meta title, which will come into some of the technical SEO, and the meta description. So the meta title is part of your H1 tag. Meta description is really important actually, because that's more of a call to action. Google don't rank the meta description at all anymore. It's not part of the algorithm at all, but it's a real strong call to action. So why should a user click through to your website? So it's really important that's included on your website.
It's important as well to have the keywords you found in your keyword research in that meta title as well. Same with underneath as well, so you've got the meta description as well, so that's another call to action as well. That's about, it changes from 156 characters to 300, it's now back to 160, it changes constantly. Google's always changed its algorithm, all these ranking factors, and so it's now back to 156, but again, that's another call to action, inquire now, free delivery, all this stuff like this, but I say the meta title is 70 characters and the meta description is 156 characters.
Okay, so going back to key phrase analysis. So this is a screenshot that we did using, which tool is this, Adam? This was
Search metrics.
Search metrics. There's various tools out there. I still think the best one is the AdWords keyword planner, which you need to have an account to access that, but it's the most accurate and gives you the best search volume. This is another tool we do use, and some free tools out there which we'll give at the end. But this is like training providers. So this shows for that term training providers in the monthly search. There's just about 1,085 search volume for that key phrase, and then you can see derivatives of that. So you can see health and social care training providers. That's what we'd class as a long tail key phrase. So there's only 98 of that search volume. But as you can see, that would be easier to achieve with it being a long tail. And actually, you combine 30 of those together, you can see how you can suddenly get a lot of traffic from these long tail key phrases.
I mean, you see how competitive that was there. Was that, well, over 1,000 searches a month, that's going to be very competitive because there's going to be so many providers that are going to be going for that keyword. So obviously, it's always good to, as Richard says, that have this long tail, introduce locations in there as well.
Okay, so moving on to kind of technical SEO. So like kind of key phrase analysis, but technical SEO is what you then do with these key phrases and how you get these on your website and other elements. So we'll talk through each one of these. So the first one, 3-1 redirect. So a 3-1 redirect, does anyone know what that is? Or I guess probably a mixture. But 3-1 redirect, basically, when we see a lot of clients do this wrong actually. So when we build a website, we always build it, we do the redirects, and basically what that is, you tell Google, because more often than not, the URL's changed on the website, so the URL of that page will change. So we tell Google that the page used to be here, it now sits over here, and this is the 3-1 redirect to get to that page. And what it is, it passes that ranking and the kind of link back to that page, so you don't lose any ranking. And we do that as part of any web build that we do. But then when we pass the websites over to clients and they start using CMSs and they're adding their content and changing content, what a lot forget to do is, they'll change pages, delete pages, they'll change names of pages, and then what that, in effect, Google then start losing those pages because they show us 404 pages to Google. So 301s is still really important as you're adding and changing content. You still need to make sure that you're doing this 301 redirects. So the service we provide at Fact Media, we do this on an ongoing basis. We'll check Search Console, and we'll see what we still need to keep redirecting. Most CMSs these days will come with a module which allows you to do your own 301 redirects. So you'll say that the page was here, it's now here. Google tells that, so that's really important. Internal linking. I mean, I suppose two factors here. One for just usability of a website and just people navigating to the right places. Internal linkings are really, really important, but it's still a very small part of the ranking algorithm for Google to make sure that they can get through to relevant content and have key phrases on those internal links. Alt tags, again, very small part of the algorithm. But all images on the website should include what's called an alt tag, so a name for that image. And we've had some success. I think one of the examples I'll show later on the Distance Learning Centre, we had an image of a revision timetable and tagged it correctly. And then when you search for a revision timetable in Google, that's your first image you see in the search results. So they can be really, really important. H1 and H2 tags. So these are styling elements on a website. So this is, you'll have a large title, maybe subtitle and subtext. And the H1 is a reference to that in the code. So it can be H1 through to H5, depending on your paragraph styling. But the most important really are kind of the H1 and H2 tags. So going back to the key phrase analysis, we have to make sure that the key phrases we pick are referenced in the H1 tags, and then coming down the title tags as well. Canonical tag. This is one I'd say, but basically a lot of websites will have very similar pages, particularly e-commerce websites. So you might have a product page that has different SKUs, so like a green shirt, a red shirt, a blue shirt, and they'll have all the same information on that page, and it's all the same content. So what we have to tell Google is, this isn't duplicate content across 3 pages. It's just this is the one page we should index for, and these canonical tags basically say that these are the 2 pages. Should reference this first page here as the main page to index. That's a canonical tag. And then again, another one that we find really common with clients is the kind of XML and HTML sitemaps. So again, most CMS systems these days, you should get a decent kind of dynamic XML sitemap. But what this is basically it's a sitemap that we provide to Google in this XML form, and it tells Google that these are the pages on the website. So as you delete pages, as you add new pages on the website, Google get told that these are on the website, and then they get ranked for those. But we see it a lot of times, Adam, don't we?
Yeah,
that, know, the clients.
I mean, it's really difficult if we're coming up with a piece of content and and it's not in the XML sitemap or the HTML sitemap. If the search engines can't physically find it, then how easy is it going to be to rank? It's going to be really difficult. So we need to make it as easy as possible for the search engines to find that page or the content.
Okay. And then going into the metadata. So as I said, the metadata being the title tag, which we saw in that first page. The meta descriptions, the H1, H2 tags. So all the data we get from key phrase analysis, needs to go into your metadata. And again, we always do that as part of our site builds, our go live process, but it's something it's ongoing, and we find with clients. And I'll let Adam talk you through these.
So Webmaster Diagnostics, basically there's a software that Google has called Google Search Console. So this is a tool that we go through. We constantly check for clients. We check that there's no 404 errors that Richard was talking about earlier. There's no sitemap errors. There's no duplications in the meta description. There's no duplication in the alt tag. So it's basically like a maintenance sort of thing. You're going through and checking that everything's up to scratch, because if everything's not, then we could see a decrease in rankings. I mean, it wouldn't happen, but if there was something so bad, there might even be like a manual penalty there, which you don't want. So that's Webmaster Diagnostics. So yeah, it's constantly checking and maintaining that everything's as it should. Site speed diagnostics. So one of ranking factor for Google is site speed. If your website is really slow, then that is going to go against you in the rankings. In comparison to another site which maybe isn't as good, maybe doesn't have as much content, it doesn't have everything that yours does. But if it's quicker than yours, then potentially you could lose out a ranking to that competitor. Analytics review. So this is a one-off sort of thing really. So a client would come to us and they would ask for a review of the data that we've got in Google Analytics. So it's data, it's the number of visits, number of where they've come from, how many conversions, all that type of thing. So we do that maybe like annually. Google local business, Google My Business, what Richard was talking about earlier. Again, we would maintain that, making sure that everything's up to date, it's displaying as it should. Backlink analysis and citation building, so that's just a form of link building. So obviously you need along with content, links to your site is very important. So it's a case of going through trying to build links from, it might be suppliers, it might be news, it might be newspapers, it might be anything relevant to your business. And citation building is basically where your company name might be mentioned, but there's no link to it, so we would then go through and contact that publication or that website to make sure that you've done the hard work there, you've already mentioned the company name, could you put a link on there? Again, that's good relevance, it's good, and then a link back to the site which can improve referral traffic and the relevance as well on your website. So yeah, we offer a monthly analytics report as well, so that's more of for ongoing clients. That's similar to the analytics review, but it's monthly. It's basically explaining how well your campaign's going. And then you've got there as well monthly keyword report as well. So basically that's keyword ranking, it's maintaining them, it's making sure that we're checking them if there's any decreases in it, if there's any improvements. If there's not, then we can go and that can be a priority for that month and make sure that we work on that keyword. Okay,
do that now. So then moving on to content marketing. So as I mentioned earlier, content is king. So Google have a website that is updated frequently, with relevant content. And we've had a lot of success with our clients in creating like kind of really rich content areas on the website. So these can be blogs, knowledge hubs, advice centers. And what we've tried to do, again, we use the key phrase analysis, but Google have, if we search in Google, you kind of see, did you mean this? And it gives you like a question. We kind of look for those questions and try and target that. So an example might be, what was it?
Millwood one.
Well, actually, one of my pet food clients, what should I feed my dog? And that shows it as a question. A lot of people look for that. It's a bit of a long tail, but we got them to number one for that. And you can quickly go through Google and look at the questions they're suggesting, and optimize your site for those questions in these areas. So we've had a lot of success with blogs, and advice centers are really good if you get them in the right way, because you can categorize, you can have the right tags, and as long as you get the right content, it's just a really good way to to optimize their website. So all the clients we work with on an ongoing basis, we're adding 2-3 pieces of content a month in any of these areas.
And it's really good. I mean, a mixture as well is really good. So at Fat Media, we produce things like infographics, we produce PDF guides, videos. It could be like case studies, press releases. So a lot of all these different types of content, is great. Say, content is king, really.
We've actually started working with a Danish company for content marketing. It kind of kills two birds with one stone, really. They're called Lead Family, and it provides a platform for like games, basically. So it's a quick game, so like question, you can do like, what kind of vegetable am I? The Barclays advert, but then things like kind of memory games and things, and they're really, the platform's there, it's really cheap, but then at the end of it, it's nice content on our website, but it leads to email kind of generation as well, so getting leads on that. So we've had a lot of success with that too. Okay, moving on to page search then. So we really see paid search, they work hand in hand with SEO. So the way we work with our clients, we see it as a short-term tactic, to try and get to some of the key phrases that you can't get to via SEO. You can access via you can bid for those in paid search. So they really work hand in hand. And we'll go through some of the factors of this. So, very basic, the anatomy of a paid search advert. So, from the start here, top line, headline. I think it's 30 characters live there, Adam, now for the headline.
Yeah.
In fact, you get two headlines now. Headline 1, headline 2. So, online course is headline 1. Learn anytime is headline 2. And then high-speed training. That's what Google can add on append at the end based on your website. We've then got the URL which it's going to. We've got a call extension, so all these are things that that you should be adding to your adverts. It's a call. Then we've got the description of that. So you only get 80 characters for the description. I think Google they keep changing it, don't they?
Yeah,
it was 130, 150, back down to 80 as it is now. And then we've got like kind of courses, food hygiene, health safety. They're kind of called structured snippets, so you can add as many of those you want basically, but as you can see it cuts off the page, so usually kind of 3 or 4, and you can add up to 25 characters per structured snippet. And then at the very footer there we've got what we call site link extensions. So these again, we probably best add 3 or 4 of those on your advert, and again only kind of 25 characters. But what they do is they kind of deep link use it into a specific page on their website. Whereas the top links will go to a campaign landing page. So that's how we like to structure our adverts anyway. Quality score is quite an interesting one, which a lot of clients aren't really aware of. So quality score basically, if you get this right, allows you to, in effect, you can bid less than your competitors and actually show higher than them based on your quality score for an advert. And there's various things that add up to a quality score. So one is the relevance of the keyword and the landing page in the advert. So is the advert relevant? Is it landing? Is it going to a relevant page on that? And one of my large retail clients, actually, we did a bit of an audit from another company we're doing that, and we found, would you believe, £100,000 of the adverts were going to wrong kind of landing pages. So that's adversely affecting the quality score, and jumping up the bid basically. So it sounds pretty basic, but link your adverts to the right pages, basically. And then when you link through to those pages, we always advise clients, to have, ideally a nice campaign landing page as well. So it's not just a standard page you're linking through to. Have, base the advert, they're coming for this advert and they want to see the similar kind of message on that page they link through to, and then have relevant calls to action on that page, which again sounds really basic, but a lot of people don't do that. The click-through rate adds to your quality score. So that's the click-through rate is how many people see the advert and then click through to your advert. Talk about landing page quality, and actually the account performance as a whole. If the account's not perform well, that will affect your quality score. So all these kind of go into, again, Google's kind of algorithm for quality, and you want to maximise it as much as you can, because that will in effect bring your cost down for your paid search. Then some other kind of factors that we use around paid search. So there's 3 things here, kind of remarketing. So 3 kind of remarketing, dynamic remarketing, and remarketing for search. So remarketing, we've probably all been on a website, and then you leave and you go on other websites and you feel like you've been followed around by that company. And it's a really, it's really great for brand awareness. It doesn't really get that many click-throughs, to be honest. If you're hitting 0.5% on an advert, you're doing quite well. But it's really good brand awareness, and we've seen clients, and we do it all the time. I don't know, we've seen clients. How do you get on all those websites? And it's users aren't. You don't pay until someone clicks on the advert, so it's great brand awareness. The dynamic remarketing for search, that's when you've been on a web, like maybe an e-commerce site and you clicked on a product, and then that follows you around and it shows you your product that you've clicked on. So again, that takes it to the next level, but a similar kind of thing. Then we've got kind of remarketing for search, which is the third one, which we find works really well. So remarketing for search is basically that we know that a user's been on your website, and then we deliver that user relevant adverts based on what they've been on the site. So instead of just delivering an advert, so I've used my client Swissport who do airport lounges. Instead of saying book an airport lounge for £17, that can say still interested in the Manchester Airport Lounge, because we know that they've been on the Manchester Airport Lounge, and the advert's a bit more targeted to that user, and it's less cost per click, and it's very, very targeted. So we find that works extremely well. And then just some of the key metrics that we advise to track on paid search, and explanation around this. So CPA, cost per acquisition. So how much does it actually cost to get a lead sale from an advert? And again, amazing that clients don't use this metric or use it seriously. Because going back to Swissport, when I took those on the client, we took the AdWords from another agency, and their CPA was £15 to get a sale on the website. And bear in mind that an average sale on the website is £17. All the cost of sale included, they're losing money on that basically. So always have a CPA in mind. What it costs you to get that, to get that lead and service it, and work to that. We've got Swissport down to 1.80 now for their lead, which is fantastic. Impressions, so that's how many times your advert is displayed in the search results. So someone searched for a keyword and the advert shown, that's an impression. Clicks, so how many clicks has it gone through to your landing page? And the click-through rate, so that's your clicks divided by the impressions on the page. The cost per click, so that's the total spend you've spent divided by the number of clicks. And then the conversion rate. And I put in brackets here, included the assisted conversions. Well, it's really important actually, because when, again, go to the Swissport example, without assisted conversions, it actually shows as £5 CPA. But when you show assisted, so assisted means that they've clicked on an advert, they've gone to the website, they've left the website, they've then gone via a natural link, they've still converted, but it's classed as an assisted conversion. So we track that as, it's come from paid search. So that brings our CPA down to £1.80. So that's the way we work, and you have to have the right tracking in place to be able to do that. Okay, I'll pass you over to Adam, who's going to talk you through the Distance Learning Centre.
Cool. I'll take that one. Thank you. So Distance Learning Centre are one of my SEO clients. I know we do paid as well, but I just focus on the SEO side of things. So basically, who they are, Distance Learning Centre are distance learning providers. They have courses from GCSE English courses to garden design courses to property development. They have in between 200 and 300 courses. So there's a lot going on the website. So it can be somebody from the age of 16 who maybe they're wanting to gain a qualification whilst they're in full-time education, or even employment as well. And there might be people who are people of the older generations as well. Maybe they want to go back and learn some qualifications or even some hobbies as well. So again, we've got there. Do you want to just next? So we've got there. The main audience is ages 16 to 30, but as I say, there is a wide range of people there that do go to the Distance Learning Centre for the course that they need. So basically, Distance Learning Centre are here because they were hit by a manual penalty due to the Panda algorithm update. So basically, what that is they got penalised really bad because the client had duplicated a lot of the content on his website from other course materials. So Google will then see that as, okay, Distance Centre has got all this, but then there's all this content's come from here. They can see when it's been posted. Basically, it wasn't changed as much as it could be. So, along with the Panda algorithm update as well, which is content, also the website got hit by a Penguin as well, which is a manual penalty for links. So again, there was a lot of Rich was saying before, there was a lot of black hat SEO techniques were going on there as well. So there was a kind of like an accumulation of things really, which obviously didn't go too well in this case, but I can show you this. So the strategy, so the client came to us mortified, he couldn't believe what had happened. This site that was ranking really well, it was performing really well in the search engines, had gone from, I think it was hundreds of course conversions a month to half, if not more than half less. So he obviously wasn't too pleased with that one. But we had to explain that when we're helping him that we will consult you with the stuff that you're doing. Make sure that if you're doing anything, if you're building any links, if you're writing any content, run it past us first as well, because you might think that's okay to go on there, but it might not be. But it's always that check to have. So basically, technical check. So basically, we went back to basics really. So we carried out a technical audit, which I know we were talking about the technical elements there before. We reviewed so the things like the metadata, the URLs that were going on, because a lot of them were quite spammy. The content, we rewrote a lot of the content as well, along with the help of the client, because the client knows his business better than what we do. A lot of the images had really bad file names. We went through and changed all those. There was no alt text on a lot of the images as well, so there's a lot of potential there that was missing out on. But the stuff he was doing it wasn't best practice, so we went through and changed all that. Again, internal link opportunities as well. There was many numbers of links to different. So on a page, you might have maybe 2 or 3 internal links to other pages. The client maybe had near 10. So there was a lot going on. So we went through, we scaled that back, and yeah, okay. Yeah. So then now what we're doing now is we've now got it to a good state to it's even performing even better than it once was, which I'll show you the graph of visibility in a minute. But what we're doing now at the moment is working alongside him, that every time that he has a new course or new content, new pages, that he's coming to us and we're optimizing them for him. We're using the right keywords. We're going through rewriting little bits of the content, adding internal links as well to the right places, to the places which is going to drive conversions. We're constantly going through reviewing and improving the keywords that are on the site as well. So going back to the metadata, that's really important because Google sees that as the first thing, as a ranking factor. So we're going through those, monitoring them every few months, seeing if there's any decreases in terms of traffic from those keywords. If there are, why, we go through and improve that. There might even be different types of keywords as well. There might be different alternatives to that keyword. It's going through, checking those, and then we can get there ahead of the competitors as well. And then, it kind of leads us on to the other stuff later, but another part that we've been doing as well is content marketing. So we were talking about that earlier, but a lot of that's, we produce in between two to 4 blog posts a month, and we've been creating guides as well every few months or so. Okay, so, yeah, you've got there the overall traffic. This is in, I think this was May 2018 compared to May 2017, so overall traffic's up 27%, organic traffic, which is traffic from the search engines, that's up 36%, and goal completions are up 66% as well. So considering the site, the client had come to us to recover from a Google penalty, we've actually come out of this much better, which is good. So you can see there, I think, if you got there, I think it's about 2,000, it's got there the visibility score. You can see there, what was that, 500 as well at the start. About, was it 2 to 3 years ago, it was about 750. So you can see we've gone from 750, you can't see it there, but it was 750, and it's clawed its way back to nearly 2,000, which is fantastic. So it's just basically visibility of the keywords that we're trying to rank for. Okay, so as Rich was talking about earlier, go back to content marketing, about this revision timetable. So basically what we've done was we wanted to find, we did some keyword research, revision timetable was at the top for things that people were searching for because it was around exam season. So we thought, well, let's have a look at these, see how it's done, and let's do one better. So we went through maybe 5 to 10, went through, checked the content, even how easy it is to use the timetable itself. So we went through the page, we wrote lots of content, more content than anybody else. We had the right internal links in there. We had an image of the revision timetable on the page. We had a link to the PDF version of it as well. The metadata was the right keywords to use, the title and the meta description. And yeah, the alt tag as well, the revision timetable. So if you search for a revision timetable, that's number 1, and that brings in a lot of searches.
So during exam time, it's about 2,000 visits per month to the site. So just that one example of just doing that, that well with the right alt tag, the right content.
Yeah,
so a good example of that.
But yeah, so this brings in, I think it was I think it was like 5 or 6% of the traffic each month, and it's one of the top performing pages. I think it's in the top 3 performing pages of the website itself. And you might think, oh, what's the revision timetable got to do with Distance Learning Centre? But it's more about the relevance. We're trying to get people to the website who had never heard of Distance Learning Centre before. Maybe they're revising for an exam or exams, and we can start targeting these people. It's all about brand awareness as well. Let's get people to it, because a lot of people have come to it. There's been people who have found this and then have actually signed up for a course later on, months to a year later. So they've always got Distance Learning Centre in their mind. We're trying to build this our blog as a resource for people to come back to, revision, education, employment advice. But this is probably the best example of it, really. So, but I say it's brought in a lot of visits a month, and it was probably like one of the best content marketing pieces we've done. But yeah.
Cool. And that's us.